How does long-lasting parental conflict affect a family? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about the effects that parental conflict has on the full family unit. When parents argue repeatedly, it doesn't just affect their relationship, the whole family feels it. In this video, we're going to be talking about what happens to the family and key things that you can do in your family to start solving that parental conflict problem and the effects of it today. In a family, there is something called a family culture. Every family has one. Culture comes from the Latin word cultur, which means to strengthen, to nourish, to grow, to correct. That culture is the environment where the child grows. So if you think of your child as a plant or growing in a field, or a fungus growing in a petri dish, or a little animal growing in its little area in the sea or the mountains, wherever it comes from, that environment is a key part of making that little thing grow. So same with your children. When your family culture is argumentative, when your family culture looks for blame, when your family culture is about the silent treatment or not connecting and communicating well with others, it affects the entire culture. If one person in the family starts feeling that way, then everybody in the family starts behaving that way toward each other. If two parents argue over something that they don't agree with, don't be surprised if the children suddenly start arguing too. Also, when the parents have a high stress level, they're feeling a little bit uptight, they're taking things personally, don't be surprised if your child distances themselves from you because they don't feel that you feel safe at that time. In a family dynamic, everybody needs to be able to trust that each other is safe. And we do that by sending messages with the way that we feel to the other people. So that's called our tone. In order to create an environment where a person can solve their conflict, where a person can learn self-government, it takes a certain type of tone and a certain type of structure. So I just said this word self-government. What is that? Well, self-government is when that you understand the cause and effect of your own behaviors, your own thoughts, actions, choices, and then you actually possess a knowledge of your own behavior so that you make decisions for what kind of outcomes, what effects you want. This means you plan your thoughts and your behaviors, your actions deliberately. You take full responsibility for yourself. That is a skill and a principle that is not just for children, but it is for parents too. In fact, husband and wife, parents need to make sure that they are governing themselves in order to feel secure to their children. When parents are constantly improving, working on themselves, becoming the best version of themselves, the children just naturally sense that. They start to do the same thing. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be oriented in the right direction, focusing on skills that your family can use in order to be healthy in their relationship problems as well as emotionally and physically healthy as well. Some other things that happen to a family as far as effects of long-lasting parental conflict is people just start blaming each other instead of taking personal responsibility, okay? There's a lot of emotion that comes into all of the teaching because that emotion is already there in the background in that parental relationship. And so all of the other teaching seems to be a little bit more emotionally manipulative. This type of communication ends up creating disconnection. When you are having parental conflict, then you're naturally more self-focused. If you're self-focused, you disconnect from the family members around you. This is not healthy. So if this is happening at your house, if the parents are not okay, if they're not self-governing, if they're not calm, if they're not able to give themselves a no answer about destructive behaviors or give themselves instructions and follow through, then the children will start to mirror the parents' behavior. This doesn't mean children should blame their behavior on your parents, but behavior in a family is oftentimes mirrored anyway. If one person acts angry, other people start to get angry as well. It's just part of that boomerang effect that comes with all behaviors. So what can you do to make a shift? Well, learn the skills and principles of self-government that you need for success. What if your children could accept a no answer from you? That would make life easier, right? What if you could accept a no answer from yourself? What if you could say, well, that spouse of mine, they're not being kind, that's just a no answer. You know what, I'm going to try disagree appropriately with them because that's one of my skills, but if that doesn't work, I'm just going to drop the subject. Not that you should go on being mistreated, especially if something crosses the line into truly being abusive, but there's a point where you go, do I have to control everything that everybody else does? Do I have to take everybody else's behavior personally? The answer is no and no. You don't. So if you just learn the skills for success, by the way, those 4 basic skills of self-government, following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences and disagreeing appropriately that take care of 99% of your behavioral problems, those 4 basic skills are not just for the children, but they're for parents too. If you use those adult skills, you learn them, you use them, that will actually change your heart and it will start to teach them what they need for success too. So a lot of people come to this channel wanting to learn the skills and the principles that they need to teach their children self-government, but they neglect to recognize that they need the self-government for themselves as well. The skills are good for everyone. So start with the 4 basic skills, but also teach your children the 5 teaching styles. Those are the skills that parents need in order to be successful in correcting behavioral problems with each other. But guess what? We use those 5 teaching styles that we would use on our children on ourselves too, and sometimes even in our husband and wife relationship. When parents are not communicating well, when they have a long-lasting conflict that has been going on for some time, it's usually because they don't know how to repair the breach. They need to have a system set up. So I recommend the first thing that you do is call a couples meeting. So the parents get together and they have a meeting with each other. Now, if you're still living in the same household, then using this couples meeting book could be very helpful because it goes through the process of discussing problems that you have together as a couple, and it will give you a format for having a regular, deliberate communication with each other, just no matter what, over time. Now, if you don't live with each other, let's say you're co-parenting, but you are the parents of this child, but you have this ongoing conflict, you got to drop the subject, okay? The steps to accepting a no answer are to look at the person or the situation, which if you're divorced or something like that or separated, that's your situation. Keep a calm face, voice, and body. Say, okay, this is my situation, or disagree appropriately with the person if you feel like there's still room for that. And then you just drop the subject. If you can't change it, drop the subject. Don't carry it. That is the worst thing you could do, and it's bad for your children too. They feel like a lot of the problems that their parents are facing are their own fault. But if you've dropped the subject and you've been able to repair that relationship a little bit so that you can have decent communication, you still could go through the process of discussing what the child needs in this meeting on a regular basis. Maybe once a month or something, you have a quick phone call where you discuss things that you need to be working on with your child and you get on the same page with those things. That would be incredible. If you could develop some similar communication and parenting practices with the child, your child would have consistency and you would be able to trust each other more, even if in the past you haven't been able to have trust for each other. If you trust each other in the husband and wife relationship, in that parenting role that you both have with each other, that goes a long way in decreasing any type of conflict in the family. And when you get on the same page with your parenting skills, that increases your trust. So there are a couple of ways to get on board with the parenting skills and learn the skills and principles of self-government, which are non-emotional, very logical, unifying skills and principles that can help solve family conflicts. And that is by going to teachingselfgovernment.com and either finding the TSG parenting course, or if you want faster training where I do it in a little bit smaller group setting, then you can do the parenting mastery training. You can find both of those things at teachingselfgovernment.com. I'll see you there.